What's going on, guys? It's the Chinnist. I'm finally back with a brand new haul. I went through Hurricane Harvey, no issues on my personal property loss or anything of that nature. Comics were delayed. I actually have last week and this week's for this haul. However, one of the LCSs had 100%, while the other LCS only had 50% from last week and this week. So I'm going to do one more haul tomorrow. So this is a stack of 43 comics with 40 different titles. So I'm missing about 9 titles that did not come in. So kicking it off, we're going to start off with Dark Knight's Metal. This is number 2. Great series so far. Again, there's been 2 preludes so far. And the first issue I really enjoyed. It was like a fun Justice League in my opinion. So yeah, so I got one copy that I'm going to bag and board. I got one more variant that I'm going to be actually reading through this one because I'm going to bag and board the foil cover. So yeah, man, pretty good stuff. If you're into Justice League, man, you really need to go pick this one up. I think this is going to have future implications to a couple of characters that are going to be going forward after this one here. So yeah, man, great stuff so far. I'm interested in anything Rebirth so far. I think DC is just knocking it out of the park in my opinion. So yeah, man, great stuff. Metal, Dark Knights number 2. Next up, I just have a spec buy. This is Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. I just picked up this number 1 really for the J. Scott Campbell cover here. So yeah, Sheena. Okay, Teen Titans. So this is the Dark Knight's Metal tie-in, and I was pretty surprised that this one was actually sold out online. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if it's the tie-in that made this one sell out online. I'm not sure there's a new character that's coming out here. I don't really know anything about this new arc, Gotham Resistance. So again, I'm not really sure why this one sold out. But I do love Teen Titans quite a bit. I actually like Teen Titans more than Champions at this point in time. At the current numbers that we're at for each title respectively. So yeah, man, great stuff, great dynamics. I love Damian, man. I love him so much. So man, great character interaction between Damian and some of the other characters in here. I think this title is going to go on to be one of my favorites ever, to tell you the truth. So yeah, Teen Titans. Next up, The Evil Within. So this is based on a video game. So I picked it up, kind of just started thumbing through, just kind of looking at the artwork. This one looked pretty good, so I don't like too many comics that are based on video games. I never played this video game, to tell you the truth. I don't know the storyline or anything here. But yeah, interested in seeing, again, the artwork was pretty good. Flipping through it for horror, I would put this like a 4 out of 5 on the horror, artwork side of things. So yeah, looked pretty interesting. So again, The Evil Within. Okay, next up, all new Wolverine. So, as I was scanning through Midtown Comics, I saw this cover and I just love this cover. I did not buy it on Midtown last week when I saw it, and then I noticed that this cover A was actually sold out online. Like, man, so I ran into LCS that had a few, had a pretty small stack. I think they got like 6 in, so I picked up 2 of them. So yeah, this was the Francis Liu cover. Alright, next up, Harbinger Renegade. I love this title. I love the Psyop world. I love the Psyop world that Valiant has really built up here. So number 6, I think this is number 7. So yeah, number 5 actually had the last storyline here that's in this continuity. You saw some longtime characters in the Valiant world die in number 5. Number 6 was just like a one-shot that, they introduced a character that was, I think alive. I think it was like 600 AD or something of that nature. The Romans were still ruling at that point. But I'm not really sure how that ties into this current storyline, to tell you the truth. But yeah, getting ready to get into this one. I think this one may be one of the first ones I read, to tell you the truth. Okay, next up we have Grass Kings. Very, very good title. I think the last one got just a little bit slow for me. So again, there's like a serial killer that these people are looking for. The Grass Kings, this is a land that kind of borders, a larger mid-sized city, civilization, while these guys are kind of, off the grid community. Someone goes missing, and they find out that someone's murdering, so they're kind of trying to track down this serial killer. So yeah, pretty good drama, pretty good action, from time to time. Intriguing in my opinion if you're looking for something a little bit different. Grass Kings. Okay, Dead of Winter. This is another game that's based on a, another comic that's based on a game, but this is a board RPG game. So I've never played this game before. Apparently this dog is, it's all about this dog. And man, that first title really got me. I really enjoyed that first title that was out there. So you have the zombie world, and this dog, I don't know, he's like super dog. He just like tears up these zombies, left and right. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Interested in seeing where this goes. Not sure if this would be like an ongoing. I'm sure this is a mini series, but pretty interesting nonetheless. If you like zombies, check this one out, Dead of Winter. Alright, next up, Star Wars. So that last Star Wars, number 35, I don't know, just okay, for me in my opinion, maybe like a 3 out of 5 on that storyline, rating. This one kind of continues that last story arc to where, R2 is still on board. The other guys made their escape, but R2 is still here, so he's trying to make his own escape. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. I don't like too many storylines that kind of focus on the droids, but yeah, this one looked okay. So yeah, Star Wars. Okay, Secret Empire Omega. So I finished up Secret Empire number 10. Pretty decent. I like the battle at the very end. So I'm interested in seeing how, at the very end, I thought we were going to have some sort of like Generations tie-in. I thought the Cosmic Cube was going to be used to, and that's why you saw some of these characters kind of popping in both in the past as well as the future with their counterparts. So I'm not really sure how the Generations really took off. I really thought it was going to, spawn from the end of Secret Empire, but man, the way that Secret Empire ended, I don't know, that was kind of weird. So yeah, really willing to see. I hope this lends more storyline, a little bit more closure, because they kind of ended that battle and then just kind of fast forward like 4 weeks from then, this is what's going on. So I don't know, man, I didn't really like how Secret Empire kind of ended. And I'm talking about just like the last 6 pages. Overall, I think it was a very good storyline in my opinion. I think I'm in the minority on that, but man, I thought it was pretty good. Okay, next up we have just a spec buy. This is Runaways number 1. I think this is like volume number 6 or 7, and they've had a lot of volumes of Runaways. So yeah, I want to pick it up. I think that they're going to be coming out with a new TV show here pretty soon. So yeah. Okay, next up, The Flash. So here they're introducing this new character. His name is Bloodwork. And, just kind of watching a few videos online, this was going to be like a big speculation here because, new character. And apparently, I guess people feel that this new character is going to be like DC's version of Venom, is what they're, kind of saying. So I think this was a heavy spec buy this week. I think my LCS only had 1 copy left on the rack. And I should be getting 1 more of these for my other LCS that's normally in my pool. So I have 2 copies of this one. I'm going to read through this one. But yeah, so yeah, Flash is getting his, he has his new powers, a negative Flash here at this point in time. He's kind of learning how to use the new powers and a new enemy to go along with it. So yeah, The Flash, great title, guys. Next up, Retcon. There's not too much as far as storyline here. The only thing they put in the storyline was like, this is like a retcon to a comic book that never existed. And like, that's all they said about it. It was enough to get me intrigued to kind of, look through it. The artwork, I'm not really digging the artwork too much. I don't really feel it too much. This is more of like a Vertigo type of artwork that I really just don't like. Maybe for like the weird storylines, but there's like a lot of weird storylines I just don't really enjoy too much. So I want to read through this one, see see if it's going to be any good or not, to see if I'm going to pick this one up as an ongoing or not. But yeah, Retcon. Okay, another one, another number 1 by Image, Realm. So this one, kind of seemed like it was a post-apocalyptic world, to where they would use both guns and swords. So, kind of like a combination of all types of, post-apocalyptic genres that are out there right now. So yeah, pretty interesting, or it seemed pretty intriguing to me in my opinion. Kind of like The Walking Dead in a way. Things that happen in the future, and you have like communities who are fighting, helping out each other from time to time. So yeah, I want to see what this one's about. I kind of get burned out on the post-apocalyptic type of worlds, from time to time. So this one's got to have a really good storyline to kind of go along with it to keep me interested. So yeah, Realm. Okay, next up, Curse Words. Man, I love this title, dude. I just love this title so much. So pretty cool. I love the artwork. I think this artwork really goes along with this weird zany type of storyline that kind of happens here. Very, very realistic, but you still have this kind of like, zaniness, feel to it at the same time. Great stuff. So, Wizard is out there, really growing in his character now, in this new world. You still have the henchmen kind of going after him, still trying to kill him, for Wizard turning on his master. I think it's been like a couple of months now he's been on this world. So yeah, man, great stuff. Willing to see, really ready to see what happens going forward. Curse words. Okay, next up, Babyteeth by Donny Cates. Man, I love Donny Cates. There's so many titles out there that I've read so far by him, and I enjoy 90% of what he's put out there so far that I've got my hands on. So yeah, this is pretty cool. So that you have this woman who has a baby, and apparently the baby is like the Antichrist. So to go along with that, apparently the only thing that the baby eats is blood. Baby eats nothing other than blood. On top of that, the baby eats only his mother's blood. The baby will not eat any other blood other than his mother's. So yeah, cool concept, willing to see how far the storyline could go, where it could go. It really seems like a short miniseries to me, but yeah, let's see where this one goes. Babyteeth. Okay, one more based off video games, Wolfenstein. So, Wolfenstein was like one of the first-person shooters like ever done on PC, or just ever. I grew up with Wolfenstein 3D, great stuff, man. From Wolfenstein, I went over to Doom 2, and then from Doom 2, man, it was all over. Like, we had Halo and all the other Unreal tournament that came around. Oh man, I love first-person shooter games. Anyways. We'll only see, kind of flipping through, the artwork seemed pretty decent, in my opinion. So I kind of wanted to see what this one's going to be like. I think, I don't know if this is just a one-shot or what's going on with this, but, after I read through this one, I'll kind of see if it, piques my interest or not to continue on with number 2. So yeah, Wolfenstein. Next up, Winnebago Graveyard by Image, I believe. Yep. So yeah. Great title here. You have like a cult that traps tourists as they come by the town. So this family, was caught in this town, this little thing that this town does, and man, great stuff. So they escaped the very first night. So just kind of running all over the town. This occult is like right on their heels the entire time. Man, it was a great page flipper. The past 2 issues so far. Good stuff. If you're looking for like a thrill seeker, horror, supernatural, man, this is pretty good stuff, guys. Winnebago Graveyard, and this is number 4. Okay, next up we have Red Dog. This is number 6. I think this ties up this series here. I think this is the finale. But good stuff. Whenever the trade paperback comes out, man, I highly recommend for y'all. If you like sci-fi type of storylines, great stuff. This is called Red Dog. But really, I think it's the boy is really the main character here. The dog is just kind of like a supplemental character, in my opinion. But yeah, good stuff. You have 2 different aliens who are on Mars. You have a colony of humans, mining on Mars while they're trying to, live next to these other 2 species who have been at war for like thousands of years. So yeah, man, great stuff. This the boy got in between, the big war that's been going on forever. Great stuff. Red Dog. Okay, Killer to Be Killed by Ed Brubaker. Man, this comic is just remarkable. Great storyline, great character development. At first I did not like the artwork kind of flipping through number 1, but this artwork does indeed go with the storyline, man, tremendously, in my opinion. You have, a lot of new characters that they're starting to introduce now. The world is getting, it's expanding. He's living in his lies, he's trying to, so you have a demon who forces this guy to kill, or else a demon will kill him. And how he rationalizes who he's going to kill. People just so happen to get killed, in this world that he's living in now. So you're always kind of, whoops, a little risque there. Always kind of wondering what's actually going to happen next in this series here. So yeah, good stuff, man. Killer Be Killed. If you do not have that first trade paperback yet, you need to go pick it up. It's like $5 on InStockTrade.com. Okay. Next up, Superman, or I'm sorry, New Superman. Man, I love this guy, Kenan Kong. This is such a great character that DC has developed so far. They created this own, little Chinese, this Chinese, super team. They've really built up the characters so far. You have villains that you've seen, over the decades that came out of China, and they're all tied into this title here, man. So you have Keenan, who's he was given by technology, Superman powers, but he doesn't have all of Superman's powers, or not, it's not all unlocked, or it's not all unlocked at the same time. He kind of has to use his powers kind of sparingly at, certain times. But, so yeah, he's learning how to use his powers. He's learning how to get along with his new teammates. Man, this is really, really good stuff, guys. Check it out. If you're looking for something else, I know there's a lot of Superman titles out there, but if you're looking for something else just a little bit different, check this one out, New Superman. Okay, next up we have Justice League of America, JLA. So I think this is the number 2 of Panic in the Microverse. Good stuff. So you have the new Adam, who is going back, at the very beginning, on Rebirth, the one shot, you saw some of Adam in there, to where Ray Palmer, the original Adam, sent out like a video message to the new, and I forgot this new guy's name, but to the new Adam, saying that, he's locked in here, he went to the Microverse, there's something called the Microverse, and he's there trying to save it or something of that nature. So this is all coming back around now from when Rebirth originally came out, and they're actually in the Microverse now. So here's a new Adam, and he brought along the Justice League of America team to try to go save Ray Palmer. And so this is a pretty cool world. This world really reminds me of like Seven to Eternity, type of like fantasy world that they're in now. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. So you have the JLA kind of fighting like in a fantasy world, and great artwork to go along with it at the same time, in my opinion. So yeah, cool stuff. JLA. If you have not picked up JLA yet, if you did not like Justice League, the main title, try this one out. Okay, next up, Pestilence. Awesome stuff. So this is zombie based, another zombie genre type of comic. Really cool, so the Black Plague, was not a virus that was passed around. It was actually zombies, and it started in the Vatican. They just fought their way to the Vatican to go save the Pope, but apparently the Pope is not there anymore. So you have like this band of brothers who fought their way there on this mission, and I think they lost about like 50% of their troop. So man, great stuff, great artwork. I love anything that's like Lord of the Rings-esque. So this is like Lord of the Rings tied together with zombies, like two genres I just love. So man, check this out if you like zombies. This is it, Pestilence. It's only number 4 at this point in time. Okay, last one from this week that I have. So this is Venomverse. So we finished Edge of Venomverse. We're getting into the main title now. So this one came out this week, number 2. So to start the last week, we have Venomverse number 1. I've yet to read through either of these. I heard that Venomverse was not, did not meet expectations, is what I heard from some of the fan base on YouTube. But, I did enjoy Edge of Venomverse so far, so I want to see how this kind of all ties together. I think I'll probably go at least until like number 4 to really, judge if I, enjoy this title or not. But man, I thought it was going to be pretty interesting, the way they've been setting it up in Edge of Venomverse so far with, this Captain America Venom kind of going to the different worlds and kind of collecting the symbiotes. And apparently they're going to go to war. So yeah, it seemed like it was going to be pretty good. So I don't know, we'll see. So I'll get to read number 1 and 2 together. So keeping on that last week trend, we have Venomverse War Stories. And from what I heard, this was apparently better than the Venomverse title by itself. So yeah, I'm not sure which one to read first. I guess I'm going to go with Venomverse first, since I have number 1 and 2. But yeah, man, I think, again, I think Venomverse looks pretty interesting to me. I've enjoyed Venom so far, but I've never been like a huge fan. But man, this one seems pretty interesting to me. Okay, another spec buy from last week. I picked up 2 copies of The Walking Dead. Apparently this introduces, I do not read Walking Dead as a single issue, so I picked up the compendiums. But this is a new character that they're introducing. What's her name? I think her name is The Princess or Princess. So yeah, picked up 2 copies. So just going to put this into my speculation box. Alright, next up, Star Wars Adventures, and this is by IDW, not Marvel, surprisingly. So, this is really geared towards kids, but I heard that there was a pretty good backstory from Rey when she was kind of growing up on Jakku. So, I want to get some more history, some more character development here. I was really kind of disappointed with Force Awakens. I'm really looking forward to The Last Jedi here coming out. But yeah, Star Wars Adventures. Okay, next up, Justice League. So this is, I think, number 3 of the Legacy. So pretty cool concept. You have the current Justice League. You had like you had a group come from the future, and come to find out it is the kids of coming from the future of the Justice League. So pretty cool stuff. You kind of get to see like who's going to get together in the future, and you kind of get to see what issues they've had between parent and child so far. Pretty good character development, even though these are brand new characters being introduced in just a few comics, just a few issues here, but yeah, pretty good so far. And again, this is going to be, I think, the end of the Brian Hitch era of writing Justice League. So yeah, let's see if he's going to end it on a bang or not. Okay, Star Wars Captain Phasma. Man, she was just completely a useless character in The Force Awakens, in my opinion. She could have been so much more. They just did not utilize this character correctly, in my opinion. So, the last thing you hear, they're going to throw her down the trash compactor. Why they didn't even have a scene of her falling into the trash compactor, I have no clue. They did not do that correctly, in my opinion. So, but this one starts off, she's coming out of the trash compactor from The Force Awakens. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. I'm hoping that she is a badass, because they kind of like in the trailers she was supposed to be a badass, but in the movie she was just like a dud. She didn't do anything, man. But yeah, so willing to see how they're going to try to tie this one into the new movie coming out, The Last Jedi. So that's a pretty big span. Not really sure how that's going to happen, but yeah, we'll see what happens there. Okay, next up, Generations. I've enjoyed most of the Generations that have come out so far. So, really interested in seeing what happens here. I've really grown attached to Riri Williams. I thought she was a pretty awesome character. The title itself, I'm kind of getting a little tired of it right now. But willing to see what happens with Tony Stark. And surprisingly, it seems like all the Generations, they went to the past to go see their other counterpart, but this one I hear she goes into the future and talks to Tony Stark once he wakes up. He's currently in a coma right now, so I thought that was kind of weird. I'm not sure why she wouldn't travel to the past to go talk to Tony Stark. And in addition to that, I'm not really sure, they haven't explained why people are just traveling all over time. Anyways, why is that? So yeah, Generations. Next up, Seven to Eternity. Love this title. I think that last story arc, so that last story arc was, about the other minor characters. It had a different artist that was in there, so we're getting back to the good stuff. So Osiris is actually the main character, so I'm hoping that we're going to go back to him, and Jerome Pena doing the artwork. Man, awesome artwork, man. Love Jerome Pena. So yeah, Seven to Eternity, the first trade is out there. If you haven't picked it up yet, check it out. This is like a fantasy sci-fi type of world, more fantasy world with magic powers, and you have, each character has powers, so they're kind of like mutants in the sci-fi world with great artwork to go along with it, man. If you haven't checked this out, check it out, Seven to Eternity. Next up, Savage Things, and I think that, my description before in the past, you have like a whole team of Jason Bourne just like killing each other, going after it. Man, this is great. This stuff is great. If you like, Black Widow, Secret Agent type of stuff, no superpowers here, but awesome, physical fights and things of that nature. Good stuff. This had, pretty good twists that were in there. You had some people kind of turning on each other who used to be friends in the past. So yeah, Savage Things. Good stuff. I think this is like my most favorite Vertigo title that I'm reading right now. Okay, next up, Predator Hunters. So this one's pretty good, pretty cool concept. You have humans who are specializing in hunting down predators. They've used some of the predator technology that they've gotten over the years that the predators have visited Earth, and they know all the predator secrets at this point in time. They have the spectrum. They could see things. The humans could hide, from the predators at this point in time. Cool stuff, man. Cool stuff. Predator Hunters. Okay, Star Wars Darth Vader, and of course this is volume number 2. Man, I think this volume number 2 is actually better than the first volume that came out. Of course, the first volume was kind of geared towards in between episode number 4 and 5, whereas this one is directly after episode 3. So this is where Darth Vader is becoming Darth Vader. This issue here is pretty cool because in this issue, you actually see where he gets his red lightsaber. Of course, the lightsabers start with the crystals, and the color of the crystal is the color of the saber. So this one kind of explains how he went about to get his red lightsaber. Interested in reading through? Man, this is going to go towards the top of my stack as well. Next up, we have another number 1 by Image. This one is called Scales and Scoundrels. This one looked pretty good. So this was kind of like I felt the artwork was kind of like Ether that came out not too long ago. So you know, you have this fantasy world, a little bit of like a zaniness type of color palette to it. I want to see if this is enough action, excuse me, enough action humor to kind of, you know, hold my interest. I don't really think so, just kind of flipping through the first time, but read everything open-minded. Okay, next up we have Champions. I love Champions, you know, love the characters. You know, at this point in time, I felt it was getting just a little bit too social. You know, they're just going against too many social evils, in my opinion. They're all strong characters. They could go against, you know, not Thanos, but, you know, strong, evil, you know, opponents. And, you know, I just feel that they're just kind of like wasting their power on the things that they're kind of going against. So this is becoming just a little bit disappointing to me, you know, at this point in time. But yeah, Champions, I'm going to continue to read it, see if it changes, you know, for me. Next up, Swordquest. You know, so this is one of the Atari titles. This one's pretty cool. You know, this is actually real world. It has nothing to do with the game, other than, you know, back in the 80s, this game had this sword that cost, you know, a lot of money to make. They were to give away this sword to the top players of the video game. They never gave it away. These guys grew up from being little kids playing, and they're looking to steal the sword at this point in time. So this is kind of like a robbery of, like, you know, normal folk trying to come up with a plan. Cool concept, man. That number 0 really got me. Number 1 was pretty good as well. Really like to see how this one ends up. But yeah, so this is kind of like a heist type of storyline here, Swordquest. Last up for you, we have Rogue One. This is the story adaptation. This is number 6. I think this one finishes off this story adaptation, to my knowledge. I think there may be one more, but as you can see, it looks like the end of the movie here. So yeah, that's going to be it for part 1 of this week's haul. Again, I have about 9 or 10 comics coming in, which I'll do a part 2 haul for tomorrow. So guys, you know, sorry for being gone for so long. Hurricane Harvey kind of threw a little dent into the schedule. Great to be back. I will see y'all tomorrow. Should you like what you see here, please like and subscribe. Talk to you later.